If I could live anywhere in the world, I'd live in San Francisco. And if I could work anywhere, I'd work at City College. That's what I said back in 1994 when I was a resident of San Francisco and I had just gotten a full-time teaching job at City College. I was marveling at my good fortune. As a teacher of English to immigrants and international students, I was able to travel around the world just by going to class. And I lived in a city that I felt stayed connected with the rest of the world. I still felt that way in 2012 when City College's accreditation was threatened, and I started to work on the enrollment campaign, which connected me in new ways to the city of San Francisco. I retired in 2014 with lofty goals like closing Guantanamo, reversing climate change, and doing just exactly what I felt like doing. But I haven't achieved all my lofty goals, but I celebrated with the rest of the city when City College was accredited for another 7 years, and then when it became free to residents. And I've continued to participate in the enrollment campaign started by Leslie Simon and Susan Lopez and furthered by Danny Halford and others. I think the first outreach outing I participated in was in the summer of 2012 after City College had gotten show cause from the ACCJC, the accreditation committee. I think Leslie Simon was one of the planners. She and Susan Lopez got the enrollment campaign going, and Susan looked up addresses for libraries, cafes, restaurants, delis, food markets, community-based organizations, and so forth to send us out with enrollment material. And that took me all over the city that I love. The Tenderloin, Mission, Sunset, Richmond, Russian Hill, the Excelsior. And going on these special delivery missions got me better acquainted with parts of the city I hadn't really explored before. And it made me aware of even more of what City College had to offer. I was doing outreach in December 2013 when Leah Garchik asked her readers for new words to "If you're going to San Francisco," but I missed her column. In 2014, I wrote, "'Twas the break for the winter that I did outreach, more time to save schools with no students to teach. Too busy to see that Leah Garchik had called for new words to a song, and I was appalled that no reader submitted, at least to my knowledge, a verse for our school, for we're all City College. So I wrote new words way past the due date, and she kindly let me turn in work that was late." Leah Garchik had asked for new words to the tune "If You're Going to San Francisco," and since I taught ESL, English as a singing language, I'd use that melody with my students to teach grammar like the present and future conditionals, the past and real, but this time I focused on accreditation. If you're going to San Francisco, let's hope you'll find our City College there. Those who are there in San Francisco know City College has got a lot to share. All those who come to City College know that it stands for people everywhere. In each class at City College, the world's reflected. Let's show the world we care. In anticipation of accreditation, we call, we must support it. For 3 generations, it's brought education to all. We should support it, never abort it. All those who go to San Francisco, be sure to look for City College there. If you come to City College, credit is yours. It's open, take your chair. If you live in San Francisco, let's make sure you'll find our college there. I should mention that Tom Blair led teachers in getting the word out at Muni stations quite early in the accreditation crisis period. And I joined his team both in spring of 2013 and later when he'd retired but was still helping out with a team that the new chair of the language department, Carol Wrighton, had organized at the Montgomery Station, a new way to see downtown. It was also a way to connect with the Goethe Institute and Alliance Française and review all that City College has to offer, like American Sign Language, Cantonese, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Mandarin, Filipino, Russian, Spanish. That day, while we were giving out material for those classes, a social worker in geriatrics expressed interest in our program for older adults, brain fitness, healthy aging, principles of balance, among other offerings. Outreach showed me the Tenderloin district in a new way too. In the past, I'd just run from the car or the Muni station to see a play at the Golden Gate or Orpheum or Exit Theater. But taking things around, I saw signs like this: living in the 10, 409 historic buildings in 33 blocks. Yeah, we're proud. At the Coalition on Homelessness on Turk Street, I heard, I love City College. We're in this together. And at the Cross Cultural Family Center one summer, this young staff member welcomed our material and spoke enthusiastically about City College. She told me that her son was beginning his first semester there in August, and she proudly displayed our schedule of classes. I'd never noticed that there's a Camelot Hotel and a Ritz in the Tenderloin. Before I had students in single-room occupancy hotels, I thought SRO meant standing room only. Then when I worked on outreach, I began to see what was around all of those San Francisco theaters I used to run to. And they included several community-based organizations, including the Vietnamese Youth Development Center on Eddy Street. I found out that the Tenderloin has the highest concentration of children under 18 anywhere in the city. The Yellow Brick Road has been removed since I first took material around there. I became so interested in the Tenderloin, though, that I became a founding member of the Tenderloin Museum. That's where I spotted a newspaper with a front page article on a former and favorite student of mine who had become an activist in the Tenderloin. See all the wonderful ways things connect? And then I went to a teach-in the Tenderloin, one led by Athena Wade, and connecting us with Kate Robinson, the organizer of Safe Passage for the children in the Tenderloin. And look at these signs. Doesn't that give you a different view of the Tenderloin? Slow down. We live here. But I want my focus to be not just the Tenderloin, but how outreach for City College has connected me to other parts of the city and changed my perspective. So let's take the Mission, which used to be my favorite part of the city because it seemed like the only part of the city that wasn't repeated somewhere else. Now, of course, it's being gentrified, and I had a brief exchange there with a new resident when I was looking for the New Door Ventures and rang the doorbell at the address given. A young techie-looking guy told me he had the New Door Venture had gone. And I said, so this is your place now? And he said, yes. And I asked whether he'd like to take a course at City College. He said he was pretty well set, as I guessed he was. And I said, are you one of the geniuses that is totally changing the face of San Francisco? And he said, I guess. I told him I don't blame you personally. I can't remember whom I do blame, but I don't think it's you. He thanked me, and then I moved on and remembered that we're supposed to blame the leaders who gave them a tax incentive to take over. I'd forgotten to add, too, I don't blame you unless you're one of those who won't let the kids play at Dolores Park when you want to play there. In addition to whatever I accomplished at the outreach destination, I did so much walking all over the place, seeing things close up and personal, that it was almost like a pilgrimage, a long walk with a purpose, and I liked that. In general, people made morale-boosting comments about City College, too. Sunday Streets was different because once we got to the neighborhood where the streets were closed on that Sunday, we stayed within a block or two of our table. And we were determined to get out the word rain or shine. Here's rain in the Excelsior. And even on a cool, very windy day in Golden Gate Park, right off the Great Highway, we were warmed by the comments people made as they passed by. Sunday Streets has given us the chance to get out the word about City College programs, but it's also given us the chance to hear, to talk to one another, and to meet people from all over the city. And on this particular windy Sunday, one passerby we called out to about our multitude of classes at City College said, "I teach a course there." So from Ed Oyarso, a Basque name, we learned about environmental law in the paralegal program at City College. And he also told us the Basque restaurants he recommended. We've also heard inspiring stories like the one this couple, Ron and Christina Chun, told us in 2015. Again, that windy day. They had met at City College in 1982 in Psychology 101. Their daughter Gabrielle was a success story of another kind. While she was a student at SOTA, she took concurrent classes at City College as well as a cooking class with her father, and expressed gratitude for how helpful and kind the instructors were and how useful the classes were. When we met in 2015, Gabrielle was on her way to New York's Molloy College and CAP 21 in theater arts. She had applied to musical theater dream schools in New York, where the acceptance rate is 2 to 5%, and got accepted and granted a scholarship at the theater arts program at Molloy College in New York. A year later, I learned that their son Christian was eligible to take City College classes and had taken his placement test, making him eligible for English 1A and calculus. City College has so many offerings and now they're free to residents. To give you an idea of what free college is making available in terms of classes, here's a picture of the piles I created when I was making a list of the handouts so we could have them filed. It's so many things that one thing buries another on our enrollment tables. Passerbys do ask about the rocks, and that's a good opening for announcing our geology courses. And I'm reminded of the incredible offerings City College provides, from ESL classes and beginning piano to solar training and solar electric and solar hot water and the bioscience program, construction, paralegal. Look at this list. And this is just what we had in pamphlets for Sunday Streets. Of course, there are other ways of seeing the city and its people and its courthouses. There are different types of outreach. In these past 5 years, I've seen a lot of the Civic Center and of City Hall, so popular for democratic action and weddings. Take a close look here. Not only democracy in action and ongoing construction, but a wedding among all this, newlyweds making their getaway. I know there are other ways of seeing the streets of San Francisco, too. Here, when we were doing door-to-door knocking in the Mission to publicize Free City, we crossed paths with a woman who saw our Free City bumper stickers, and she said, "Oh, it's great you're doing this for City College." She turned out to be Hillary Ronan, a San Francisco supervisor who was in the Mission looking for new spots for navigation centers. And of course, that connects with all of us who live in San Francisco, as well as specifically to City College, which has the HEARTS program, the Homeless at Risk Transitional Students program. But getting back to outreach, I've loved working on the enrollment campaign, and I'm impressed by counselors like Donna Hayes, who shows up on her day off, and Josie Liu, who shows up even after retirement to offer expertise that some of us don't have about the whole program. But I'm sympathetic to the idea expressed by unions that there should be paid positions for this, And now there are. In the Associate Dean, Alex Gariba, and the student ambassadors, and Leslie Malloy, Free Cities Director. Members of the Board of Trustees have been participating lately in Outreach Sunday Streets too. Tom Temprano in the Bayview, via Selby at several Sunday streets all over the city. And Chancellor Rocha showed up this past July. The first time in the 5 years I've done outreach that I've ever seen a chancellor show up at Sunday streets. So, hey, when I was approached about being the liaison for AFT 2121's retiree chapter and CARA, the California Alliance for Retired Americans, I decided that I'd make that my new focus. And these past 2 months have taken me to still another part of San Francisco, the ILWU building at 1188 Franklin. That's the International Longshore and Warehouse Union. Here's a meeting, but one from around 1934, not one I attended at the end of 2017. So now that I'm a member of OWL, Older Women's League, and a liaison for CARA and AFT 2121 Retirees Chapter, I'll be doing a different kind of outreach, but it will be another way of seeing San Francisco, where I don't even have to leave my heart. I just stay with it.